The second blueprint in the MSP Excellence Playbook for cloud solutions providers is a blueprint to help the Google reseller establish the pricing for each cloud service as they add it to their cloud solutions ecosystem. And so the way we do that is we pull together a number of pricing templates and summarize them in this master price list worksheet that you see, where, for example, the very first service element in my collaboration and messaging solution suite is Google Apps for Business, and here is the $50 per user license fee. I also have defined for this service my own one-time deployment fee of Google Apps for Business of $25 per user and a monthly recurring management and support fee of $10 per month per user. And the way I establish those is, and the way I do it for every line item in this master price list, is to go to a pricing template for each service. So I'm going to click on the tab that says Collaboration and Messaging Service Number 1, and this is where I've entered my information about Google and about Google Apps for Business and how I went through a process led by this template for defining my pricing for a typical customer with 25 employees and how that $50 per user per year and at my revenue sharing rate of 20% drives $10 of profit per user per year for me. And so what I've done to add value with chargeable services is to define non-recurring services in the form of installation, configuration, user admin training, database migration. I've estimated the hours of labor to do that for the entire 25 user environment at an hourly rate, and the template calculates my cost per user. I can then establish my deployment fee per user and see what my gross margin is based on that retail pricing for that deployment fee. In this case, I might want to keep my margin low and keep my deployment fee very attractive in order to win the business and save my high margin uplift for my recurring services that are going to go on a 12, 24, or 36-month contract. And so for recurring services, I'm going to provide personalized end-user help desk support and resource administration of user accounts and moves, adds, and changes, and I've estimated the hours per month per customer, and the template has determined my cost per user at $5. I've doubled that to $10, and so I have a 52% gross margin, 52% because there's some rounding going on in the cost per user. So now that I've modeled these price levels where I want, they've automatically been populated back into my master price list, and I've gone through a similar exercise for other service elements I've added to my ecosystem. Let's pretend that I've added a single sign-on vendor to augment that solution for mobility. Let's pretend that I've added a hosted business application, which is a CRM solution, and I've modeled the licensing fees charged by that vendor and the service fees that I'm going to wrap around that on a monthly basis or on a one-time deployment basis. And I've done the same thing for virtual infrastructure. I'm going to offer some online storage and so forth. And so then at the end of the process of me adding in pricing for each of these services, I have unit pricing in my master price list. I can now go to the deal scenario template and I can model different kinds of customer configurations and see how these values blend together for an average deal on a one-time revenue and a recurring revenue basis. So in this example, I'll put in 25 users. I'm going to provide single sign-on for 25 mobile devices. I'm going to also provide the customer with some virtual resources in the form of virtual CPU instances and online storage to the tune of 500 gigabytes of storage that will command a monthly fee. And so those quantities will automatically be dropped into the matrix below as soon as I put an X in the box selecting that particular service. So no X, quantity 0, no pricing. Put an X to select that service, and now I have 25 copies of Google Apps. I have my $50 per user per year license fee extended. I have my $10 per user per month management fee extended, and I have my $30 per user one-time deployment fee extended. And that is done for every service I select by checking the box with an X, so that at the bottom I can see those services blend together. And now see how my pricing is actually going to perform in the marketplace as I blend my one-time deployment charges, my monthly recurring charges for license fees and service fees, and any annual license fees or service fees, their respective margins, because they all carry different margins for licensing and for services based on what I get from the vendor or what I model in my pricing template. And you can see that on the bottom here I now have a first year revenue value. That's 1 time the deployment fee, 12 times the monthly recurring, and 1 time the annual. And that adds together to show me that I have a $20,000 first year deal value based on that blend of services for that customer configuration. And I've taken my 20% revenue share from Google Apps licensing, and I've blended that up to 47% gross margin for the entire deal. So that's a little bit about how the service pricing blueprint works. It's designed to help you define your pricing, understand your margin impact, and see them in action in a real deal scenario so that you can be ready to quote and deliver services that are profitable in your cloud solutions business.